Everybody, and good evening. And I thought I would jump on the bandwagon, and since I've been to Skylabs in Des Moines, Iowa, I thought I would kind of jump on there and add my 2 cents and do this hi-fi tag thing that he's talking about and answer some questions that he has. So anyway, let's get to it. Number one, name the first piece of gear that led you down the hi-fi rabbit hole. Well, that would have to be the Cambridge Audio Topaz AM10. It was actually the first new piece of hi-fi gear that I ever had, kind of early on. And it really kind of opened my ears to the idea that, oh, I didn't know music could sound like this. I didn't know it could be this enjoyable and visceral and captivating, that kind of thing. Really a fantastic integrated amp, and actually, in my opinion, better than its successor, the AXA35. Name the favorite piece of hi-fi equipment that you currently own. That would have to be the Panamax MR4300 power conditioner. Only because I recently sold basically all of my gear, and that was the only piece I kept. And the only reason I kept it was because they don't really sell for that much on the used market. So I was like, kind of, why waste my time trying to sell it only to get $100 for it or whatever it was, that kind of thing. But it just works. It's stable, it's functional. You plug stuff into it, you don't notice a degradation of sound quality, unlike some power conditioner, power strip stuff I've used. It just works and functions, and it does a good job doing it. Number three, name the product that you bought that you regretted. Well, this is going to be kind of controversial because I reviewed it and I said it was fantastic a few months back. And that is going to be the NAD C368. Luckily, I was able to sell it when I sold recently most of my equipment and get rid of it. And it is a great amp, hugely functional, but I kind of noticed it towards a few weeks after I made the video and did the review. And, my opinion didn't really change of it. It is a great product. It's hugely versatile, hugely functional. And it has a very, decent sound, but I found that the more I had it turned on, the less I wanted to listen to it. That's kind of what I found with it. I don't know how to say it other than that. And I hate to say that in this because it kind of goes against my video a little bit, and people might think, oh, I'm kind of lying or whatever, but no, that's not the case. But, the more time you spend with equipment, sometimes I spend a month with equipment, sometimes I spend a couple of months. Most of the equipment I review, I purchase with my own money. And so, I regretted it more in the sense, but I should say, I also regretted it in the sense, I was either going to buy that to review, or I was going to get the Technics SAC 600 CD receiver to review. And I kind of regretted it in that sense. I'm like, I should have got the Technics. I should have got that to review instead of the NAD. If you could only have one song to demo your stereo, what would it be? Well, that would have to be probably David Bowie's Space Oddity. And for one good reason. And by the way, I like David Bowie. I'm not the hugest Bowie fan, though. Nothing wrong with Bowie. I just feel like a lot of the stuff I've heard a billion times. So, change the station, you know what I'm saying? But the song will be particularly Space Oddity, as I said. And the reason being is Space Oddity is great from a stereo perspective. It has a lot of stuff going on in the left channel, a lot of stuff in the right channel. The volumes between the left and right kind of flip-flop back and forth, particularly with his voice. He recorded 2 distinct sets of vocals throughout the song for the most part, one specifically for the left channel, one specifically for the right channel. And for me personally, stereo separation and imaging in left to right balance aspect is hugely important, and something I listen for immediately when I sit down, and that album allows you to see what is going on with that. If money wasn't an issue, what would be your perfect system? Well, audio research, 100%. I've had an opportunity to hear some of their newer equipment, particularly twice. And for me, I'd get the big Ref 500 monos, I think they're about 3 feet tall, tube amplifiers. They look ridiculous if you ever seen one. Even in a photo, they're like, God, man, that thing looks huge. Who would have that? But definitely monoblocks. Monoblocks to me is huge. It makes a huge difference with sound quality, truly. But particularly that with the matching preamplifier, I just, to me, audio research is, every time I've heard their newer stuff as a complete system, whether that be an integrated amplifier or a separate power amp, preamp system, which is the majority of what they make, I just come away with this awe-inspiring feeling of like, what I'm hearing, nothing is lacking. It has perfect sound staging, perfect imaging, perfect speed and rhythmic qualities, perfect dynamicism, perfect tonal and timbre qualities. Everything is just lacking nothing, and it has everything to my taste. So definitely that. If you had to choose one music format, what would it be? Well, I love vinyl, but to me, vinyl is also kind of tedious because, you got to clean the stylus, you got to clean the records. Oh, I'm out of fluid. I need to order more because the shop in town don't sell it for my particular machine. I got to get new sleeves. I got to get new inner sleeves, outer sleeves. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's very tedious. As much as I love vinyl, and I particularly love shopping for vinyl, quenches my shopping bug that I have. It is very tedious. So for me, particularly, I would go digital, particularly DSD. I'm a huge DSD fan. I have 2 thumb drives. I'll show them to you guys one day, although it's not really impressive. They're just a couple thumb drives, but they're loaded up with nothing but DSD. Actually, one has a lot of PCM WAV files on it and some DSD, mostly DSD, and then one purely is DSD. And, 64, 128, 256. I've got a couple 512s, a few albums in 512, which not everything will play 512, but DSD really is, to me, the ultimate format. It really sounds hugely impressive. If you haven't went down the DSD rabbit hole, I would say dip the toe in for sure. Download, there's a couple of websites out there, Native DSD, where you can get sample albums and you can download and listen to it. And you can also do comparisons between the DSD version and the PCM version. I would get something that does native DSD, particularly from iFi Audio, and there are a few others, but they have the most budget option available at $100 for the Zen DAC Air. And you can, switching between the DSD and the PCM, you can hear a difference. The DSD just sounds more organic. It sounds more alive. It sounds like you're listening to real musicians playing music. It's just better. What is a stereo product that people love that you just don't understand? Well, it's kind of a weird question because I do understand, or my answer is kind of weird because I do understand it. I do understand why people use it, but I just would never, I mean, it's kind of controversial, but I think it's kind of, please forgive me, I think it's kind of dumb. And I think it's kind of stupid. And I also think it's kind of lazy. And that product is like DSP, mini DSP, particularly those little boxes you can buy. And I get it. I get that people want to use that product to optimize their sound system for their room. But I think that's also kind of lazy. I think, and what I've discovered over the last 10 years of doing this stuff is with proper speaker placement, even without room treatment, proper speaker placement to get the speakers to couple to the room properly, which is possible with time and patience. It is possible. You can maximize the sound quality of a system without DSP. And I think just having DSP is kind of a lazy prospect. And I know that's a very controversial opinion. I'm not hating on anybody. Please don't think that. I just personally would never use it, although I do understand why people do use it. And I would add that from the perspective of it, I think I like it more. I would use it in the aspect of home theater, because home theater, particularly like a 9 or 11 channel Dolby setup, where you've got, all the speakers interacting with one another and they're interacting with the room. DSP would hugely help there because it would allow you to maximize, and particularly in a home theater system, a home theater system, you don't have the option of repositioning speakers as much. But anyway, no hate, just my opinion. What is your next upgrade? Well, my next upgrade is probably new speakers. I've been wanting to get floor standers for a while. Now that I'm in my new place, I've got a little more room for my system. I can kind of get floor standers in here a little bit better than I could in my old place. This is larger. I think it would work better with the room, having floor standers in here. And, I'm looking at a few options, so definitely some speakers. A piece of equipment that you kept in your system for looks alone. And actually, this is one question I don't have an answer for, unfortunately, because I don't really buy stereo equipment for looks. Now, if it does look a certain way and that is conducive to an aesthetic that I like, then all's the better. But I don't go out of my way to buy an audio product because it looks a certain way. To me, I buy an audio product because it functions a certain way and it functions the way I want it to function. And, most importantly, of course, sound the way I want it to sound. So I don't really have an answer for that because I don't really buy stereo equipment that way. The last piece of equipment that made you want to re-listen to your entire music collection. Well, that's actually an easy one, and it's actually the Go Bar Tensai from iFi Audio that they sent me to review here recently. And I hooked that thing up, and you can engage the K2 HD feature, which I'll talk about in the review. And it's designed to kind of like resample or kind of make the music more organic kind of sound or analog sounding. But it actually really works. It truly does. And it just makes everything you listen to more pleasurable. I don't know how to describe it other than that. And, I went through all of my streaming collection with it and, everything. And I'm like, man, this thing sounds great. And I just kept listening because I wanted to keep listening. What is an accessory that came out recently that you can't imagine living without? Well, this is the last question, and I kind of don't have an answer for it because I really don't buy accessories, to be honest with you. Not really. I buy products for their functionality. I would have to say probably my record brush. It's this thing here, the Acoustic Big Brush. I love that thing. I thought you used to be able to get them on Amazon like 5-6 years ago. And then they took them off and you can only get them from Acoustic Sounds now, which I believe Acoustic Sounds is the manufacturer of them. So, yeah. But anyway, I almost thought they discontinued them there for a while, but it's really one of the most fantastic record brushes on the market, in my opinion. It just is phenomenal. It cleans records like nobody's business. It reduces static. It's very ergonomic. It works well. It's just perfect. That is it. And I want to say thank you to Skylabs. And, as I mentioned at the beginning, I did go to Skylabs way back when, probably back in 2019. I worked for a company called TMC Trucking. And I have a video on my channel from way back where I did a review of TMC Trucking as a company. But anyway, they're located in Des Moines. Their headquarters is in Des Moines, Iowa, right near the airport. And I had a free day while I was there doing some training for my job that I was like, what do I want to do? I know there's a hi-fi shop near here. I think I didn't even know Skylabs existed, but I think I looked up like a record store and they came up, and they're located in like an old town kind of section. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a shopping district, kind of like a lot of like old style, old town places. And I went and, of course they have records, but, what amazed me was their equipment. And that's, while I was there, I was like looking around and I almost bought a Harman Kardon. I think it was the 220, if I'm not mistaken, receiver. I just love the sound of Harman Kardon receivers. They're just phenomenal. They truly are. Something about them is just beautiful. The way they look as well with the green and the black and everything. It's just really great. But I didn't buy it because I didn't have anywhere to keep it while I was there. I was kind of, in like a bunkhouse style area. There was no way I could keep that thing there, not without worrying whether or not somebody was going to either steal it or break it or something. And so, I didn't buy it. But anyway, that's it. I appreciate. Thanks for everything. There's the shout out. Anyway, peace out.